maybe, I don't know, if you want to ask me about, I don't know, maybe we should start talking about like some standout cards.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a couple things about the Star Deck format, just your initial
Yeah.
impressions, and I guess firstly on Raigeki, like, because we sort of
Oh yeah.
weren't sure about that, like, or I wasn't sure about whether that was a good thing, and you thought it was a good thing. So, um, yeah, is it a good thing having it?
Are we going now? Recording?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so my, I think the first thing to say with even when you just have the two starter decks, is that the way that you've balanced the power spells and introduced new power spells as well by making some of the bad cards from the starter deck quick plays, so like block attack, block defense, remove trap, all being quick plays now with the same effects. It's actually difficult to fit everything in a deck spell-wise, power spell-wise, and also trap card-wise as well, just because there's too many of them. And if you put them all in, you don't really have a monster core, or you have like 10 monsters, or you just can't really be playing an effective deck and having all the power spells in all at once. So even though cards like Raigeki and Change of Heart and stuff like that, and Pog as well, they're all in there. Pog's in starter deck, right? Starter deck format.
Yeah.
Because they're all in there, and there's so much other stuff you want to be playing, like Remove Trap, and like, maybe 2 or 3 copies of Stop Attack, because that kind of functions like a Book of Moon if it's a quick play spell. You can't be putting everything in. So I was building decks, not playing Fisher, not playing Dark Hole, just because I needed my strong monster lineup, and because as well something we discovered. I talked about this when I was talking about my deck list as well, because I was discussing the starter deck only format. One of the things that's interesting about that format is that you can play a cookie cutter deck, and it's a strong cookie cutter deck, but interestingly, the cookie cutter deck isn't actually as good as any of the themed decks, and the themed decks are just constructed around the cookie cutter core, but then they probably play anywhere between, what would you say, 9, 10, 11-ish themed cards, and those themed cards, no matter what the theme is, whether it be Yami, whether it be dragons, whether it be a warrior focused deck, and there's plenty of other variations on that deck. So you have the cookie cutter core, you have the lean towards the theme. The themed decks are always better than the cookie cutter. So you've got your core monsters, things like Ferrolimp, for example, is a good sort of floater, and there's plenty of cards like the Jin, and what's that card, Rio?
Rio Howard, yeah.
Yeah, and the original one as well. Then you've got your themed cards, so you can beat cookie cutter. Then you've got your regular spell and traps. You haven't got room for, let's say, 3 Fisher, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Raigeki. So I was just playing the Raigeki and thinking, if I draw a Fisher and that's in the deck in place of just a strong monster like a Legion, there's no difference between me drawing Raigeki and Legion. I might as well have the Legion, because at least if I just draw Legion and you don't have anything on field, I just summon it and attack, So, yeah, I think having Raigeki, having Dark Hole, having Fisher all in the first format is fine, because you can't. I don't think you can play all 5 of them in a deck and the deck be consistent enough over a long term sort of thing.
Yeah, there seems to always be opportunity cost to the things that you run, and like, I discussed it in the part 1.
So there was one game in particular that we played where I was like, I was gonna put my 3rd monster on the field, and I was like, I know you possibly have Raigeki, or you're gonna draw Raigeki, but it was that calculated risk. It wasn't like it didn't unbalance the game because the monsters aren't just like crap vanillas and they do generate advantage. The advantage of me putting something like not the third Legion, but like Legion as a third monster or tribute summon in the summon skull and getting the draw from its effect, even though I know you can come back with Raigeki, and even though I know I'm consciously overextending, it doesn't break the game for then you to Raigeki me because the monsters have recouped their lost advantage by being hit with Raigeki at a 2-to-1, for example.
Yeah, it
or a 3-to-1 even.
It certainly makes it more interesting. I think that for most of the spells, like I discussed it in the part 1 discussion, but I think it's good to have a sort of glut of options because it does make things a bit more complicated. Like when we were introducing block attack, it was more to prevent an over reliance on Fisher and things like that, and prevent things from being too linear.
Block attack, like deck space was already so premium. It's already so tight because the cookie cutter deck isn't the best deck, and you have to have some themed element in just because the themed elements, the themed cards beat the cookie cutter so efficiently. Then to introduce like block attack, like I wanted to play 3, but in some decks I was just playing 1 because it's like I can't cut anything, Yeah. And then you look at cards like Change of Heart, for example, and you say, obviously in normal Yu-Gi-Oh, you just play Change of Heart over block attack, like fucking obviously. But in this game, because block attack is a quick play, how much is Change of Heart doing in your deck? When are you using it? When is it advantageous? Are you
like
taking it for tribute summons? Are you taking it for OTKs?
Yeah.
You actually end up making decisions where you'd rather play a third or second copy of something like block attack or remove trap instead of Change of Heart.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's quite nice because obviously the viewers might not necessarily know, but we were quite concerned initially that cookie cutter was too strong, and as we discussed in our group chat, I think that Kaiba Shin is a really big influence on that deck because it's always good with Soul Exchange. Most of the other tribute summons, certainly in the Starter Deck format, they aren't generally that good with Soul Exchange. Like Cursed Dragon is often underwhelming, Summon Skull, and it's only Gaia the Fierce Knight, but obviously that has heavy restrictions on when it's good as well. So
Gaia is difficult to play with. Shall I read Gaia out quickly?
Yeah, I can get it up on VN, I think.
Oh, you can get it up on your screen, yeah. Gaia's it's difficult to play with, especially with the 23 attack as well. It's like
it's very weak for 2 tributes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I was going to say most of the time it's 1 tribute, but it's really not. It's most of the time your field is just 1 monster facing off 1 monster, and then that's where I cannot remember what the card is called. Let me look it up quickly. Ryo Kishin has that sort of nice balancing effect on the monsters. You can have out a Neo, which is 19 attack, or you have out the Legion or whatever, and then the Ryo Kishin, summon it on your turn, it balances out the field, but then it's weak, so on your opponent's turn they just clear it off, and it adds a nice. In a way, it removes the attack barrier element that was very present in early Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, obviously, when me and you were playing the original Starter Deck format years and years ago, and everything's just vanillas, and most of the spells and traps are shit. Like, you're playing cards like Neo in your deck because they're optimal, but if they have Legion, like, what's the point? If they have, whatever, what's the point? The attack barrier element that was present in the original, in actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Is gone to a nice extent in this rebooted game.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, when me and you were playing the original one, it was a dire situation, and as you say, you'd have to play Neo just because like it was the second strongest vanilla, but then it just got run over.
Yeah, and I mentioned it in my deck building video as well. It's like this these starter decks that you built are just so fucking amazing because like how many cards is it? 80 cards or something. There's like 10 plus decks out of it. It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
There's certainly a few. Like I said in my part one that the aim is to have at least like 2 playable versions of all the themes. So obviously I think Fiends are the best for that right now. You could have a good stuff version of the Fiends, but you could also have the Yami invested one. For or Warriors, you have the like you could play a Warrior toolbox sort of thing, but you could also make it more invigoration focused. I think Dragons will be the last thing that we address because we sort of wanted Flute to be good from the start, but I think that's something that needs to have the most care taken over it. Because obviously you could just make Lord of D a searcher, but then it's like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
In my opinion, the Dragon deck is the weakest of the themed decks.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's... I don't even know how to describe why it's weak. Let me have a look at a build quickly.
It's just because Komori Dragon is only 15, so it's like... It's,
yeah, Komori Dragon's...
Like, it's a good card, but it's weaker, so...
The thing that gives it most of the edge is simply the Blue Eyes being able to be an additional normal summon if you have a dragon.
Yeah.
That is basically where the power of the deck comes from.
Yeah.
So you can get Blue Eyes on the screen, can't you?
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
Get up
if Blue Eyes didn't have that effect, I don't think the deck would be a deck at all, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think that let me just get it up. Starter Deck Dragon. Because it could transpire that the Flute build ends up being better anyway, but I mean, the biggest problem for the Legend of Blue Eyes format is obviously Trap Hole. Would making Flute of Summoning a quick play be enough, or does it still require some sort of additional help?
What's Lord of D's effect?
It's not too different from its original effect. I can't remember its original effect.
Targeted or something. Dragons can't be targeted.
Yeah, I have it, so it's like when it's in attack it does one thing, and when it's in defense it does another, but it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even Flute being a
because you still have to play 3 Lord of D and 3 Flute, and it's like it's a bit
shit, isn't it?
Maybe you could have Flute as a quick play with its original effect, so without the attack restriction, and then have Lord of D sort of like not quite Searcher, but like send Flute from the deck to the grave, special summon 2 dragons from your hand, but then you can't attack that turn, so it's like, I mean, that would be pretty strong, but...
Say that again, sorry?
So, to have Lord of D be something like send a Flute of Summoning from your deck to the grave, maybe discard a card as well, and then special summon 2, and they can't attack that turn.
Yeah.
But then it just makes Lord of D good. Not Flute.
True,
It's a bit weird. But yeah, I think that should be the last one to think about. Like, I think that now that the Metal Raiders stuff is all up, we can test all those metas, and then the very last thing will be sort of tweaking Flute to make that good. Because I do want that to be good, but it would be at its strongest in theory in Metal Raiders, because you get Reran, you get Harpy's Pet Dragon, stuff like that, so hopefully you should be able to play big dragons.
This is just a random question, because I haven't thought anything about it, but is there a possibility that Flute and Lord could somehow become good in tunes? Like if you did a dragon tune thing? Or is that, are their effects restricted?
Well, as it is right now, the tunes are So like the tunes, you can special summon them without Toon World, but then they just die. So yeah, and as things are right now, probably not. If Lord of D were able to tutor Flute, then it would be possible. Maybe you could just give it like discard one, add Flute, and then if they trap hole it, then they trap hole it.
That's interesting. Discard a dragon, add Flute. I gotta be honest, like, having, obviously we've put some time into thinking about this, and you've put some time into designing Lord and Flute in a better way. Thinking about the way it was, let me rephrase that. So, looking at Flute of Summoning Dragons and Lord of D in retrospect, I'm thinking about the way you get works. Like, maybe it's just not workable. Like, you gotta have Flute, you gotta have Lord, you gotta have dragons. Like, it was just never gonna be a thing.
It's
just for the fucking anime. It's just so it can summon free blue eyes and be like, yeah, GG.
It does kind of depend, like, because
how do you make Flute good and not broken? I don't think there's a balance. Maybe you could do something like this. Maybe you could say Flute, you can activate it when you control Lord of D and summon 2 from your hand or 1 from the deck.
What, while still having the they can't attack restriction?
So like, if you don't have the dragon you want to summon in your hand, you can summon 1 from the deck. It can't attack, but then at the same time it's protected from being targeted during your opponent's turn by Lord of D, at least until the main phase 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work.
And then it gives them the vulnerability as well of not only have they only got the 1 dragon on the field, but the Lord of D could be hit over by something
anything,
like a Jin, like a Summon Skull, like a Komori dragon.
Yeah, it could work. One from the deck, 1 from the hand. No, it's strong. It's certainly better than its original effect.
Let's talk about some other cards. One of the best and most genius things to change so far in your game, if we're just talking about the first 2 starter decks, is Autumn Offering just being a normal trap.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It makes Autumn Offering such a nice, interesting card.
Yeah, it's a fair, good card. I think that was like one of the things where we future-proofed it very early on.
Yeah.
Same with like Last Will as well. Like we never played Last Will with its original effect. Like we didn't need to. We just changed it straight away. And we must have had like 1 or 2 games with Ultimate Offering as a continuous. And just like but it already had the design idea in mind to make it a normal trap. It just makes a lot of sense, and I think that the thing with the game as we've designed it now is that in the sort of abundance of advantage that you get now, you also get these sort of these -1s that help with tempo, so things like block attack, Ultimate Offering, remove trap can obviously whiff sometimes, so
yeah, definitely. And the nice thing about that the exchange of the cards, so the -1 for the tempo, is that it's not guaranteed. You know, you can get trap hold, for example.
No.
And it's balanced. It doesn't push you too far ahead. But obviously, having the continuous Ultimate Offering is just stupid, and it always really should have just been a normal trap. Yeah, and I think it was made most clear the first time we ever played, because every deck just had 3 Ultimate Offerings, and it was just like, just shit.
Yeah, and if Trapmaster wasn't about to pop here, it was just like, well, what are you doing?
That's true. Another cool design, which basically was a almost completely original design, was your Dark Magician.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I was talking about that, and the updated Blue Eyes in the part 1. Like, I like the fact that Dark Magician is sort of reactively blowout. Obviously, you can bring it out as the 2 for 2, but
which is so sick.
It is quite sick. It's conditional, and at this stage of the game, you know, obviously Trap Hole and Ultimate Offering are traps that you're going to be playing anyway. But outside of that, like, you're either going to have to run suboptimal traps in order to make the Dark Magician more consistent, or you're going to have to wait until you draw the Trap Hole or Ultimate Offering and get one of them in the grave. And then the fact that it banishes it as well means that you can't rinse repeat the same one. But obviously it's at its strongest when, you know, like an opponent remove traps it at the wrong time and it'll come out, and then it's a +2, but it's punishing them for suboptimal play, so it's entirely reactive in that sense. While with the Blue Eyes, it's a lot more proactive, and it's really difficult to play around Blue Eyes. But like, Blue Eyes is also very conditional in that, like, it will generally be like a 3-card combo or something. Like, you need to summon the dragon, get the soul exchange or whatever, and then summon the Blue Eyes.
The Blue Eyes is like more than a 1-turn commitment sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which might be part of the reason that the Blue Eyes deck is weaker, is that it requires more commitment.
Well, it gets stronger in Legend of Blue Eyes, and you can test it in Legend of Blue Eyes because, like, Fairy Dragon does help a lot, but if needed, you know, can always add things to the starter. Could put, like, I don't know, Fairy Dragon in there or something if that would help, because
I don't know if the deck needs help. Like, it's playable.
Yeah.
Games with it.
Well, we should see how it is in the Legend of Blue Eyes meta, because if it's better in the Legend of Blue Eyes meta, then there's no real need. Like, it can be the 3rd best deck. There's always going to be a 3rd best deck.
Yeah. Let me just look up Fairy Dragon.
It's just like during the end phase, you add a Wind Dragon from your deck to your hand if it's in the grave.
Lessons the graveyard. You can add 1 Wind Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Huh. Okay. And then that searches what? Just itself?
Or a Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's quite a consistency boost, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It also helps with, like, the Flute build as well. You can, like, additional tribute summon the Blue Eyes over 2 floaters, but it's a bit weird.
Yeah, that's true.
It gets a lot better with Baby Dragon as well, like, but that's Metal Raiders or pre-Metal Raiders when it's just Joey and Pegasus introduced into the Legend of Blue Eyes meta as well.
Just gonna look up Baby Dragon.
Baby Dragon is strong. I love it. I'm so happy with it.
Let me read it. Once per turn, you can reveal 1 fusion monster in your extra deck. Until the end of this turn, you can normal summon 1 of the fusion monsters specifically listed on that card in addition to your normal summon. You can only gain this effect once per turn. Okay. And that helps Blue Eyes how?
Doesn't help Blue Eyes necessarily, but it helps.
Just because it's a Wind Dragon.
It helps a lot of things. Like, you can summon all the good things except for Dark Magician with it at that point in the game, including Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress, and Fairy Dragon, but mainly, like, Summon Skull, Gaia, Cursed Dragon, all of that.
Yeah. Oh, so normal baby's effect, tribute it to summon Skull.
Yes, right.
That's sick, yeah, sick. It's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
That's a deck all by itself, probably.
It's a really good card, and, like, I think they will be one of the more underrated cards, because it's essentially like a double summon, but a very conditional double summon.
One card that might be nice to talk about, that's an LOB card, is Ancient Sorcerer, which was an OCG, or is an OCG only card, but you so that's a level 4 spellcaster, 1000 attack, 13 defense that you made into a hand trap. It was a vanilla, so it's during your opponent's turn when a spell card is activated, you can discard this card, negate the effect, and if you do, your opponent can add 1 other spell card in their grave to their hand. So, like, what was your sort of thought process with making Ancient Sorcerer?
So that came about in the 1.5 patch. As you know, we did Legend of Blue Eyes the first patch, so that was 126 cards with Salamandra, and obviously there were some things that we needed to amend. Mainly, we needed to make fusions better and dragons better, etc.
Oh yeah.
When it came to Ancient Sorcerer, it's just like, because I've designed a lot of I'm gonna call them promo cards, but just either cards that weren't released in the TCG or cards that weren't released through main sets, so they came in like tournament packs and stuff like that. I just figured they would make sort of nice cards to introduce, and in the case of Ancient Sorcerer, like to be honest, I just thought it looked really cool, had a really like interesting sort of feel to it, and it wasn't the first hand trap. Like Mammoth Graveyard was the first hand trap.
That's true, yeah.
And in the case of Ancient Sorcerer, like
Mammoth Graveyard negates like Graveyard Revival, but I think Ancient Sorcerer is quite a unique design. You know, even for a hand trap in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not based on anything really, is it?
Nah, like it will sound weird, but I actually thought of it in a dream. Like I woke up the next day, I was like, wow, that would be a really cool effect, you know, because yeah, it does punish you obviously in some situations. Like it's only clutch against the first spell. If it didn't have that add from the graveyard thing, it would be OP. You would just play 3 of it in every deck.
Yeah.
So the fact that it punishes people like that, obviously in certain situations, if you know, like you really need to negate, like particularly with things like fusions as well, like if you need to negate that first spell, you need to negate the fusion sage just to give them less cards, stuff like that.
It's interesting.
It's less good against them.
It's definitely a side deck sort of card.
Yeah, certainly in Metal Raiders, when Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest make it searchable, it's a lot easier to accommodate, and
that's nice.
It does just, well, obviously if you draw it, it hits the first spell, but another nice thing about it is that it interacts well with the you can only activate 1 per duel spells as well. Like obviously they can get one of them back and it's a card, they can discard it off Yami or whatever, but they can't use it. So yeah, I just thought it was a pretty cool design. I like it.
Yeah, very, very, very nice card. What other stuff can we think of? Specifically the starter deck only format.
Let me have a look. So I made Soul Exchange a quick play recently.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Mainly just so you could use it in the opponent's turn with Ultimate Offering, but I think that other than that, it doesn't do too much. Like, it isn't too relevant, I think.
No, it's very niche. Very niche.
Made a fair few quick plays, actually. Yeah, so we'll have to see. Like, I made Elegant Egotist a quick play. That might have been too good, but probably is too good, actually.
I think Metal Raiders is definitely... Well, obviously this is not talking about the starter deck format anymore, but Metal Raiders definitely you see the beginning of like archetypal decks are like insects and harpies. But the two that come to mind.
It's when the game takes flight, really.
Yeah, and I think the thing I loved about specifically what you did with insects is like, obviously it's a monster type, but you made them sort of archetypal, but you also you basically gave insects as a type the mechanic of they are the type that special summon from the hand sort of thing.
Yeah.
Very unique approach to the game to give a game mechanic to a type of monster.
Yeah, those are the sort of cards that, like, because obviously we would imagine a standard and premium meta, those cards would be hit early in premium, like Forest as well. Forest would get banned like straight away.
Forest is fucking insane. Yeah.
So strong. But yeah, as far as our game, like I think it just made sense. Obviously, with insects, the idea is that they swarm and stuff like that, and you compensate for the fact that they're weaker by being able to do these little tricks and combos and.
Yeah, but in reality, they're actually just really good.
Yeah, the fact that they worked out, you know, it's good. I'm pleased with it because I
But
wouldn't
you know
have
what?
known.
That being said, like yeah, they're really good. But I think firstly, in terms of developing the deck, it took a long time to find a deck, to find a build of insects that actually started to work. And then even then, it was fair, you know.
Yeah, because obviously you have the trade-off of having to commit entirely to the archetype in order for it to work. You don't get to
Yes.
run any of the other things. So
Yeah.
in that sense, it's almost well, it isn't the first heavy theme because fusion's a heavy theme in Legend of Blue Eyes.
What is?
Any of the fusion decks. Like,
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Especially the the fucking Skull Servant deck.
the Skull 7 one. Yeah, what are
That
your
is
thoughts on Skull 7?
Yeah, Skull Servant is actually might be too good.
Yeah.
Skull Servant actually might be too good. A deck with how many copies of Skull Servant do you play in the main?
So for the Trollsy Exodia build, I played, I think, over 20. Let me have a look. I played 14, yeah, 21 in the Exodia build. But I have built a more like normal version where I play 10 and then you just package it out with the good fusion stuff outside of that.
Oh, okay. Because I remember the one that I played against you. That had the good
That
fusion
was
stuff.
bad.
I think that was had like 27 or something.
It had 20 something. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly
that was
how
really
many.
consistent though.
Like it was good. Like obviously, problem was like your hand would be like 3, 4, 4 Skull 7 sometimes.
Yeah. But if you get that Flame Ghost resolved, then your deck is what's in your deck is the best fucking. It's like a 4K monster every turn, no matter what.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
It is the glass cannon dot deck, which I think is nicely positioned at this point in the game. Obviously, it's like pre-Mirror Force, pre all of that, so people aren't going to be main decking Wabaku probably.
It's true.
They could, like Wabaku isn't terrible, but probably like space is so tight, probably won't be doing it. And
it's actually a really interesting deck because it's kind of like there's the OTK Goat deck. In that format, the deck can be a little bit bricky, but your opponent's just going to summon a monster and attack you, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? The Skull Servant Flame Ghost deck is the same. It's like if they do Wabaku you and they do clear your Flame Ghost and they do attack for some amount of damage, next turn, especially if all the Skull Servants are gone from the deck, you're just going to draw Polymerization in some form, and you're just going to summon another Flame Ghost and you're just going to attack. The decks actually might be too good. It might be too good.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see, because with me or Black Dragon as well being able to like Heavy Storm essentially, like it's strong. It's strong, but we'll have to see because like at worst it will be a one format deck, and it's very easy to counter with like siding and teching and stuff as well. Like it does lose to Wabaku really because you have to extend into the play as a Skull 7 player, and then it's just like, okay, gonna clear your whole board and kill you, and like you can't do anything like after you've done your your Skull 7 play. So that's
I wonder what the odds are if you looked on a calculator. What the odds are of drawing 5 Skull Servants if you're playing 20 in a deck? Like, how often is it going to happen?
Probably quite high. Like I was drawing them a lot when I was playing the Exodia build against you, which is why I decided to tweak it. I think that the sort of standard fusion build will be a lot better because the standard fusion stuff is good. Like maybe potentially too good down the line, but I think for now it's alright with everything requiring specific fusion materials and stuff like that. It was the only way to make them playable, to be honest. But yeah, I'm happy with Skull 7 for now. We'll have to see, and I think that one of the nice things that Skull 7 does is really emphasize the side decking aspects, because like you need that 3 Wabaku in the side.
A card that's pretty cool I think it comes out in LOB, is Recreation.
What? Kairyushin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. It's probably my favorite card in the set so far. Like, it is a it is a very me sort of card. It's really good. It gets better, but like the fact that you can just tribute summon it is so good. Yeah, I think it's fair 'cause it's 18. Like,
It's true. Yeah, it is true.
yeah, but it fits within the lore. You know, it's meant to be. I think it describes itself as the king of the ocean or something in the text, but obviously made it for Connor as well. That legendary fisherman comes out Pharaoh servant. Good boost.
Just looking for Recreation quickly to remind myself of this effect.
So it's, if you have exactly 5 water monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon it from your hand. You can only special summon one Kairyushin per turn this way. And if it's summoned, your opponent shuffles one random card from their hand into their deck.
Madness.
Very strong.
Little Glacier.
Yeah. Well, obviously in premium, it would help water out a lot because then it extends the first turn hand combo from a 5-card thing. Sorry, from being able to pitch them 2 cards to being able to pitch them 3. But when it comes to like our game, I don't think water is really a deck. Certainly not in Legend of Blue Eyes. As things progress, it gets better, and it's got its nice little theme going. Maybe a Mal Raiders with like Suijin, maybe, but I don't think it would be like a tier 1 deck. It'd be a playable deck, but not a tier 1 deck.
Yeah, talking about Suijin, I did try and make a Gate Guardian deck. That went pretty badly.
It is very difficult, like, to accommodate all 3. I buffed Gate Guardian as well.
Oh really?
Well, I just made the payoff bigger.
Oh right.
So you draw 3 and burn for 3k.
Because I did get it on board, but it don't win you the game.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
the setup is intense.
You have to commit. You have to really commit. And like one thing that I wanted to do with it was make the 3 components just sort of playable as their own attributes. So like a light deck would run Sanga, a wind deck would run Hesdrin. I always saw them that way. Like
it does work a lot better like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see what you did to Gate Guardian. Draw 3, return all other cards on the field to the hand, or inflict 3k.
Inflict 3k is strong. Oh, you should look one up actually. What do you think of Mystical Moon?
Oh, this is gonna be good. Let me see.
Because I have changed a lot of stuff. This one is mad.
I love what you did with the fucking floating castle from the anime.
Yeah, that was sick. But we need to see if we're able to activate it as a field spell.
True, it's gonna have to be a field spell, isn't it?
No.
Like what we did with
the Dark Magician.
Have you changed Dark Magician yet so that it's a trap with your effect?
Yeah, I made it a trap.
What kind of one? Looking at Mystical Moon?
Yeah, I think it's called Mystical Moon. Might be too strong.
No way. Alright, here it is. Equip only to a Beast Warrior or Beast type monster. During your turn, double its attack and defense. During your opponent's turn, half its attack and defense. Ooh, I love it. It's like a Megamorph.
Yeah, it's a nice little lore. But it's so strong, like, you know, Rude Kaiser already doubles its own attack. So you'll get loads of these, like, Beast Warrior OTK decks.
The game will devolve into you having to hold your MST for fucking Mystical Moon.
We'll just activate that Wabaku.
Yeah. That's good.
Wabaku does end up balancing a lot of these crazy strategies. Just by its sheer existence.
Oh, these are 2 things I wanted to mention with the Gate Guardian. The attempt at the Gate Guardian deck was that Kaminari attack and Deep Sea Shark were good for it, but it doesn't. You need like one more fusion monster if you were gonna have a Gate Guardian deck, which I would heavily suggest against because it was very bad.
Yeah. Well,
Very bad deck. Tier 7.
Can have a look, cause like the card is so strong, and again it would be one of them ones where it's like premium might be able to use it somehow, but the thing is like there isn't much more that we can do with it. Like we've made it as good as we can, and there's a foolish burial that gets released in Metal Raiders, the cheerful coffin thing. So it's like
yeah, cheerful coffin's great.
Yeah. So it's like, well, you could live the dream, use cheerful coffin, pitch probably Sangas. That's the most difficult one to use if you're playing Kaminari and Deep Sea.
No, the Kazejin is the hardest one because there's no way to search it. You have to get it in the grave, either with Coffin or with a Wind Monster.
Yeah.
Sanga and Thunder can be sent with Kaminari attack, and Suijin can be sent with Deep Sea Shark. But the interesting thing is, it's quite synergistic, is that Kaminari attack, even though it sends a Thunder, it is a Wind Monster, so you can then discard Kazejin with Kaminari attack.
Yeah, it adds a Thunder as well. It doesn't send it.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's alright. That's alright.
Yeah, because with both Deep Sea Shark and Kaminari attack, they have the level 5s that search out the things as well. So
yeah. It's good.
It's pretty good.
But as I say, yeah, the Kazejin is the unsearchable man, and by man I mean like sphere thing.
Well, it's a spellcaster apparently, so very
Should we play some games?
Yeah. And which format?
Should we do LOB and I can just play my rock deck since that's what I've been.
Alright.
Since I've got a video about it that will be going up, might as well. We got an LOB SDKS.
Yeah, I've got Skull Servant.
Fuck. And it's not gonna. Well, we'll play it, but it's not gonna work because my deck needs to be playing at a very slow pace.
Alright, we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, can play something else. I'm using Black Wings as proxies for the Skull Servant.
Oh, fair enough. What a deck. What a champion deck.
Do you have like a favorite design out of the ones that have been showcased so far?
What do you mean?
As in like, is there any card that stands out to you where you're like, yeah, that's sick, I really like it?
Like what's my favourite card in the game?
Or just one that like, you're like, yeah, that's sick. Well, I like Skull Servant. It's like, yeah.
My dueling book's Frozen. I'll rehost.
That's swear. Alright.
It's just Frozen. I like a lot of them. I like Ancient Sorcerer a lot. Is that what it's called, Ancient Sorcerer?
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. If that came out in
oh, you know
real
what I love?
Yu-Gi-Oh,
I love
it'd be
Mystical Ghost. Mystical Ghost is really sick.
Magical Ghost, yeah.
Magical Ghost. She's a deck, you know.
She does make the whole deck weirdly, like.
Yeah.
It's a nice little combo. Maybe can try and introduce a couple more synergies like that, but we'll have to see. Oh, this is a funny hand. Ugh, disgusting.
We haven't played this format in months.
A while, yeah.
A good, at least a month. It's difficult. I'm trying to think like.
We don't have block attack in any of our decks.
Oh, that's true. We don't even have remove trap.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, they need updating. This is not an accurate representation.
Yeah. I desperately needed that draw.
Oh fuck.
Nice.
Yeah. These decks are outdated to say the least.
Yeah. This will be the old preview.
I will use the
Nice.
effect. So this format then is essentially, for all intents and purposes, it's just LOB by itself, basically.
What? As in, like, the decks that we're using? Or...
In terms of like the relevant cards, because with all the good stuff that's now in the starter decks is not in this.
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much for the decks that me and you are playing. I don't think there's anything relevant. So this is a very cool little,
This card is sent to the grave. You can reveal one fusion monster from your extra decks and one of the fusion to its node. Ooh, I like it. That's sick. Send the Skull Servant. Send one of your many Skull Servants. Come on. You know you want it. You know you want to send that vanilla. Whoa, what the fuck? When this card sends to grave, target one face of monster whose defense is lower than this card. What the fuck? You kidding me? That's too good.
I'm not sure it is too good, but it's pretty good.
That's fucking great. That's so strong.
it gives fusion something.
I can't believe that just happened. That's fucked up. You fucking cheater.
To be fair, it was accidental. So like, I gave Meet Your Dragon that effect because I'm like, well, that's fairly balanced. You know what I mean?
X
Like,
is level fucking 6. This shit. That's some crazy artwork for polymerization.
yeah, I preferred this one. It was like the original anime one, innit? Wow, these things aren't even like hard ones per turn. That's so strong. Je suis Christe. My version of the spell wrecks the fusion stuff so much as well. It's so delicious.
Oh, what does it do?
It's just like a mind crush for spells, but it's quick play. And it just destroys it, but it destroys all of them in the deck as well.
That's fucked. That's fucked. Oh, what the fuck? Doesn't one of them have to be... Oh, is one of them the correct one? Oh, fuck, he is.
Yeah.
Once per turn, double this card's attack to the end phase. Once per turn, during any of your player's turn, you contribute this card. Add one poly from the deck or grave. Okay.
Effects. How'd you go?
What, so it's 18 on your turn?
Yeah.
Huh. Fuck. Okay.
It's not very much skull servanting.
Can't you, because that is a beast earth, can't you add 2 polys from deck?
One's from the grave and one's from the deck. So I did that.
Oh, okay. That's mad. Yeah, this deck's good now.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a chance.
Well, it buffs all the fusions, which is alright. I've got another one, but for fires, and I'm not sure whether to drop that in Legend of Blue Eyes. We'll have to see how, you know, like the Flame Swordsman variant and stuff does. Because that's an important strategy.
I mean, it's fine for there just to be one good fusion deck, you know?
Yeah, but I do want Flame Swordsman to be at least up there. and it kind of is, but yeah, we'll have to test it. It's probably one of the better ones. This is a bit of a stagnant hand, to be honest. Oh, so I could equip this with the mystical moon and double its attack.
Fusionist has got a fucking face on it. Hey, look at that little fucker's face.
Yeah. He is up to no good. Effects, I can only get the draw. Oh.
I'm still upset about the monster egg. Fucking meteor dragon. That's bullshit. Like your opening hand, was it like good or?
I ironically could have done with a skull servant. Might have to put more of him, but we'll see.
There's no MST in this format, is there?
No.
Alright.
There's no nothing.
What the fuck do I do?
Oh, I did have a another pertinent question actually. So you know, obviously Trap Master, right? So Armed Ninja is the spell counterpart to that. Should I put that in one of the Legend of Blue Eye? No, the starter decks, I mean.
Nah.
You sure? Because it adds something in that, like, we're saying all our spells.
It does, but are you gonna play it?
Well, so I had two thought processes regarding it. So firstly, like I said in the video that I didn't want to include it because obviously we're playing it now. We found out there's no reason not to set all your spells. So then people would do that, and if I included Armed Ninja, then it might deter people from doing that. However, in the Legend of Blue Eyes meta, Meteor Black Dragon exists, so people might not be setting all their spells anyway. So because of that,
Okay.
if we include it in the starter decks, like it doesn't take anything away from the format because you just take Trap Master out of one of the decks. But then people obviously won't play Armed Ninja at first because it's not good. Then people will set all their spells. Then people will be like, okay, Armed Ninja is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
Such a
I don't think it changes anything, but I understand why you would do it.
Yeah. Well, let's say it's a potentially useful addition, but we'll have to see.
This is the shittest possible play.
750, 650. This game is not necessarily the best advertisement for the game, to be fair.
Such a bad game. Maybe afterwards we should just play the starter deck format because we're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
We're pretty good at that.
Yeah, there's some stuff I want to try in starter deck format actually. See, this is very interesting, like, because I've got 3 polymerizations set and I've just drawn a fusion sage. It's like it's pretty punishing in a way.
But these decks aren't built properly either. They haven't got any remove trap or block attack or loads of shit's missing.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't necessarily run either in the Skull Servant deck, but...
No, that's true, but you know what I'm saying. Use the Wasteland.
Swords of Revealing Light as well. Ugh.
Get in there with the Wasteland. Get in there.
My version of Swords is so much stronger. I realized another cool thing as well is that the quick play version of Stop Defense allows like flip effect deck to be a thing. Like you can quick effect flip your flips.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So I hope that will become a thing. I actually can't do anything to Swords of Revealing Light. It's GG.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
Too strong. Must nerf. Oh, Connor wanted Giant Soldier of Stone nerfed. What do you think about potentially nerfing that bad boy?
What?
No, because he was saying it might get out of hand, and to be fair, it's not entirely wrong. Like his nerf was way too heavy, but
I just want to clarify this, right? When a card like Forest exists, Connor's concerned about Giant Soldier of Stone.
he hasn't seen Forest yet. To be fair, like
13 attack. The fuck? You have to play fucking Sandstone in your deck to make it good. and that's the case because you're playing a bad card in your deck simply to get it out of your deck as quick as possible. That's why it's good.
That's fair.
No, that's wrong. Can I ask you a question? Last turn, what did you do?
I set Fusion Sage and passed.
Oh, I was trying to work out what you did in attack. It's because of the thing.
Yeah.
Because of the fucking Swords of Revealing Light. What's the position? I fucked up so bad.
Yeah, I buffed this this lady though. She got a nice little boosty woosty.
I just don't want that thing there. I don't want that fucking ugly face looking at me.
Oh, does that help? I don't think it does. Thins the deck, I guess.
If this custom's graded by a card effect, special summon one petite angel from the deck. Shit. Fucking fusions. I mean, Fusionist can crash. Oh, I can't. Swords. Sorry.
No.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a nice wall play.
Yeah.
This has been a weird game.
It has been. Maybe I should just you know, commit more to the Skull Servant. That seems to be the lesson.
Yeah, it's like the Skull Servant was just a deck. You know, it was its own deck. It was nice. It was as well. Swords is the Skull Servant deck.
You're getting all robot-y. But yeah, Swords is most clutch.
Swords out.
I have no out. Yeah, that's it. GG.
Let's play LOB. No, not LOB.
The Starter Decks, yeah.